guess. Well, depends on the day. It was mostly related to just.
It was a wild summer, Dennis. While I was out.
I mean, also said
So I worked with I know.
planned and
A lot to do tonight. Whoops. Oh, these things don't always stay on. That's straight? It
that
just
was an
fell off.
interesting.
That went through everybody.
And that's no one's fault. I accept that there's no way to. How are you supposed to know that? But I do, and I've obviously.
Better?
Are we in a computer simulation? We are, aren't we? You just can't you can't write this straight.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, well,
Here we go, folks.
Actually, yes, I appreciate that.
well, I'm curious as to what.
Good afternoon, all. Welcome to the City of Urbana Arts and Culture Commission meeting on Tuesday, November 12th. First item on the agenda today is a call to order and the roll call.
Lori Fuller. Elisa Rodriguez.
Present?
Sarah Buckman.
Present.
Barbara Headland.
Present.
Hannah Andreessen.
Present.
Abby Harris.
Present.
Mark Anthony Macon.
Present.
And Xander Hazel.
Present.
Our next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
Motion to approve September 11th minutes.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. This is passed. Do we have any additions to our agenda today?
No additions.
Thank you. Are we expecting any public input today?
No public input.
Great, thank you. Now we get to the good stuff, the presentations. We have some visitors who are here today to present their grant information. And our first presenter is from Pygmalion to discuss their 2024 grant. And if you could, please keep your presentation to 10 minutes. That would be very helpful.
Hello.
Hi.
First off, thank you for volunteering your time, doing the work that you do. As somebody who grew up in Urbana and somebody who lives in Champaign, I remain really, really gratified that there is a Public Arts Commission, and that there seems like opportunity for some growth here, which is really, really important. So just acknowledging that to start. We did our 20th anniversary of Pygmalion this past September. And gratitude for the grant that we were awarded. And we had a really great year. coming out of the pandemic, doing the particular type of presenting and programming that Pygmalion does. It has been challenging, but rewarding, right? And this year, for the first time since the pandemic, we were able to safely state that it was successful in all ways. There were successes coming out of the pandemic, not the type of success that any arts organization would point to in the financial space. But this year we've been able to modify and embolden what we've been doing and kind of rethink how Pygmalion, an event like Pygmalion, which is a nationally recognized event, has to function inside of a very tumultuous industry at this time that has been swallowed in so many ways by corporations of such size that it's hard to fathom. And so all funding, whether it comes from the public sphere or from private businesses or just personal donations, goes a long way into ensuring that the future of Pygmalion has a future. With the money that we received from the Urbana Public Arts and Culture Program, we were able to do a bunch of fun stuff. We tried to emphasize our spend on free events, as I know that that's what the commission, the program is seeking. And we did author events at a variety of venues in Urbana. We did some really excellent live music, and we were able to help afford some of the more costly programs that we feel are very vital to what Pygmalion is and to the idea of how art should be presented and how it should be valued. And so, yeah, just remain very grateful to the broad community and to the commission in general. And yeah, I think I'm mostly curious if anyone has any specific questions for me about some of the things that we did and some of the ways that we were able to find success. Oh. Yeah, sorry. free literature reading at Krannert Center and at the American Football House. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with what the American Football House is. If you're not, I would encourage you to look up more about what that, the history of that house and how it has impacted the culture here of Urbana, but also nationally. It is indeed a tourist destination, something of a roadside attraction. And now that it is in the possession of the artists that helped make it famous, there's a lot of opportunity for interesting engagement at that particular house. It's on High Street. Yeah, we were able to bring in some really special acts from Chicago that I think meet the standards of Urbana's excellence and work inside of the Rose Bowl as we always do. Continue to remain very grateful for what they continue to bring to Urbana as both a public space for gathering and as a venue for us to be able to do agency book shows with professional acts. There's another slide.
Earlier, you alluded to the fact that you had to make some changes that were positive to help with this season. Can you mention or discuss some of the things that you discovered that were useful?
Yeah. Well, one of the hard decisions, but ultimately a good decision for us was to de-emphasize outdoor shows. There's a wide variety of reasons for that, but mostly it is very costly to do that type of show to the standard that the agencies that represent these artists would demand. It's not good enough to just throw bands up on a stage and say, here you go. It requires augmentation of a pretty significant degree, both as far as labor and financial resources. Additionally, we chose not to do the Made Fest this year, which was previously for 11 years running, and Makers Space. The reasons for that are vast, but it did help us focus our attention on being able to program the kind of acts that we felt the community would respond to and that would improve our chances of making the festival financially sustainable and with the opportunity for reinvestment.
Programs got the most attention.
Well, certainly having 2 sold-out shows at the Canopy Club, which is always super fun. Royal Otis on Thursday night, band from Australia who has found significant rise in the last year, caught them at the right time. And then Cupcake, a hip-hop artist from Chicago. Both of those did really, really well. Having Bob Mould at Rose Bowl on Saturday night. Bob Mould, for those of you who don't know, is a legendary singer-songwriter whose original work with both Husker Du and Sugar is known the world over as some of the most influential and seminal of what is called the indie rock movement. Having him in town and then speaking at Krannert Center that night with a number of industry professionals and artists brought here by Lisa Gottheil, whose career as a publicist now exists in New York, but of course she's in Urbana-Native. Having those experiences free and open to the public at Krannert Center, being able to listen to people like Bob Mould and Dean Wareham from Galaxy 500, I think brings a lot of access to information that we wouldn't otherwise get.
Questions or comments?
I just wanted to add that I got a chance to go to the Micaiah McCraven show, which was one of the artists that you had. And it was the same night as the CU Black and African Arts Festival at Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was so incredible to be able to kind of see the festival going on outside and all the small businesses and micro businesses and food and then also just having this overlap with this incredible, world-renowned Black artist who just did the most insane set you could imagine.
Yeah.
And I think drawing a crowd and audience that maybe don't always go to the Rose Bowl and having that kind of partnership, whether or not it was like super intentional or just happened to really work out. But I thought that was a really interesting evening of Pygmalion.
Thank you, Vivian, for doing the work that I probably should have done when I sat down. But we were deliberate inside of that when we learned that Cindy from CU Black and African Arts Festival was looking at the same weekend. It was also the same weekend as Pride, of course. And it was also the same weekend that Krannert Art Museum ended up doing a really magnificent performance with an artist named Madison Moore. And so we really tried to put that all together and cross-promote and support one another, and it ended up, I think, working to everyone's benefit. It's obviously always our intention to be thoughtful about how we program, what we program, and looking at a broad scope of demographic related to all the different categories I think you could put in there, and certainly not just limited to the genre of music, but we really try to appeal to as many people as we possibly can.
Something for everyone.
Thank you.
Hi. What are you seeing for the future? Because I've been with seeing Pygmalion since the beginning, and it was so different, years ago than now. And like what Vivian just said, it really was wonderful, the McCraven show too, and the synergy, with the other festivals. So what are you seeing for the future? And can you speak a little bit more about the corporate kinds of limitations that make it hard for the festival to be what you want it to be?
Sure. And I will try to keep that short, but because I could.
Okay.
It's deep, but the future, we're going to do it again, right? That's my job right now, is to go back to the people who support Pygmalion and thank them and ask for money again. Over the course of 20 years, I've been pretty deliberate in my approach to what I'm trying to do and what Patrick is trying to do, my partner at the company. And, it is no secret that Pygmalion and Smile Politely are tied. The only reason there is a Pygmalion still is that Smile Politely has been able to carry a lot of the weight for Pygmalion. And vice versa, Pygmalion being an asset to what we do at Smile Politely helps us be able to give advertisers to Smile Politely, supporters of Smile Politely, an opportunity to come and enjoy a cultural experience. So I've got to raise money again. How we look at the programming, I don't know. We've got a 20-year partnership with Krannert Center, and they've once again said that they're in for a 21st year, so that's great. What date? I don't know. Can someone talk to the Big Ten and just schedule this stuff?
Good luck.
I get it. There's Oregon and Washington, and then they're going to be playing in South America. And I don't know. But once we get our dates, we'll assign those dates. We have work to be done on the Iron Post building as an organization, as partners to that project. Will not be open by next September, I can assure you. But that doesn't mean that it's not part of what we are continuing to plan and working on, collaborations inside of the community of Urbana with Gallery Art Bar, with Rose Bowl, with Public Arts. All of these organizations kind of fit hand in hand if we want them to, right? And so I can assure you there's going to be some great bands. There's going to be some great authors. There's going to be some great comedians. My truest hope is that we do more inside of the culinary space, food events. That's a really difficult thing to pull off in the right way, but I've done it before and I want to do it again. So I hope that gives you some preview. What it actually looks like, I don't know. It changes every year, but I think we know that trying to go back and trying to recreate something that was once well-funded and now isn't so funded seems like a losing proposition. I mean, as far as the corporate space, every year that goes on, independent promoters like myself, who've been doing it for 25 years, are up against, two promoters in particular, and that is Live Nation and AEG. Live Nation being much larger than AEG. Live Nation is also the owner of, or depends on how you look at it, of Ticketmaster, right? That's the reason why there's legislation being discussed. There's a reason why NIVA, the National Independent Venue Association, exists. But I'll just say this. Live Nation is in part owned by the investment fund of Saudi Arabia, okay? Not people in Saudi Arabia, the investment fund of Saudi Arabia. And so we're up against unbelievably large corporations, conglomerates. And if it doesn't feel like we are, that's okay. It's not really visible, but we are. But more reason to be inspired to do independent, thoughtful programming like this.
Well,
Thank you so
very
much.
much for
Sure,
coming.
thank you.
Our next presentation is for the Arts Grant 2023 from the Urbana Park District, Read Across America. And would you state your name for the record, please, when you start your presentation? Thank you.
There we go. That's probably a lot better, huh? All right. My name is Kelsey Beckew. I'm with the Urbana Park District. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the 2024 Read Across America event. We're just very thankful that the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission has continued to fund this event every year. And yeah, so we're happy to tell you a little bit about it today. So this year's Read Across America event was on March 2nd at Lincoln Square Mall. So we've been in Lincoln Square. We were there last year. And this year's theme was Reading is a Blast. Read Across America is coordinated primarily by the Urbana Park District, but it's really a collaborative team approach. So our partners in the event are the Urbana Free Library, Child Care Resource Service, Altrusa International, and the Champaign Public Library. So it's really a lot of different agencies kind of coming together to execute this large-scale special event that celebrates literacy in our community. And as part of that, we always are trying to bring in artful components as well to keep it fresh and interesting. So this year, we did a lot of different planning and promotion. We usually take a multifaceted approach. Traditional mass media options, TV, print ads, newspaper ads, MTD bus ads, and also, of course, getting in online calendars, and then our digital friends, Smile Politely, Experience Champaign-Urbana, Champaign Moms. So we try to get a wide variety of communication about the event out there so that we can attract a lot of our community to come and enjoy it. We had a lot of booths this year. We do typically every year. This year we had a new booth, Moore's Rescue Ranch, which was actually a pretty huge hit. They brought in some different rescue animals that were very popular. And then other activities include celebrity greeters, professional storytellers, different hands-on literacy activities, and books that are read in multiple languages. So funds from the Arts and Culture Grant provided the books and supplies that kids could take home afterward and helped pay for the costs associated with professional storytellers and face painters. So those are those kind of extra elements that help provide another way for participants to really engage with literacy, with reading, and really help to, I think, make the experience memorable and meaningful, for people who come. So this year's event had roughly 1,500 attendees, and as with every year, we're always drawing a very diverse crowd that I think really represents the richness of the Urbana community. We have a very diverse community here, and we're proud to host events that are reflective of that. And then as far as kind of the accomplishments and challenges from this year's Read Across America event, I think Seth kind of mentioned it with Pygmalion. This is kind of the first year coming out of the pandemic. I think we haven't had any really significant challenges to speak of. So, last year we had originally planned to do an outdoor event and kind of had to pivot at the last minute to do it indoors. This year we planned it indoor at Lincoln Square from the beginning, and I think it really went well. We were able to accommodate the booths and the vendors a lot better. As I mentioned, we had a new activity this year with Moore's Rescue Ranch, bringing some different rescue animals. And I think we were better able, because of the planning from the beginning, to work with the indoor market instead of, suddenly making a pivot and, okay, we're here inside. So I think that was really helpful for this year. And so overall, it was just a really, really great event. Things went smoothly, and we're looking forward, to next year. Planning is well underway at this point. And we're just really grateful again to the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission for continuing to support this event. I'm happy to take questions. If I don't know the answer, I will happily write them down and refer them to program staff. This event actually occurred while I was out on maternity leave, so. But like I said, we're looking forward to next year, and I think one kind of newer thing from this year's event and maybe going into next year is kind of traditionally, it's really been the younger audiences, I think, families with young children. We did see a little bit more of older kids' participation this year, and so we're looking at, you know, potentially growing that. I don't know that if it was just sort of osmosis through some of the other teen programming we're doing at the Park District that came about. But I think that's an area of growth for us that our program staff are interested in.
Questions from the commission? Do you record your events? Sometimes videotape them?
Let me check with our marketing staff. I know that we take lots of pictures, obviously. I'm not sure if we have video or not, but I will certainly look into that.
I know that we were lucky the year of the just before it started. We didn't know what was going to happen, and we managed to. You still managed to have the program over there, and we combined a program with the symphony, and that program is still on the city website. So it's available. So I think we could probably, talking about cross-promotion, if you have programs that take place in Lincoln Square, perhaps we could use those on our website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll
Something to think
certainly
about.
check with our marketing crew and see what video or promotional things we might have that could be shared for upcoming. Yeah.
I love seeing the free books available for kids and the multilingual programming and storytellers, so that's fantastic. And I think
My email, there it is.
great job.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for coming. The next item on the agenda is presentation about transforming public spaces into creative environments with guests Dr. Somi Lee and William Chen.
Hey, test. Okay, perfect. All right.
Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Somi Ili. I'm affiliated with the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign School of Art and Design. Can you hear me okay?
That's better.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, thanks for having me, adding this presentation to your agenda, letting me talk about this project. So the title of this project is Love and Care, Transforming Urbana's Public Space Through Art. So the purpose of presentation is to seek your support in the area of artist recruitment, installation guidance, and artist fee to bring this community center mural project to life. So this is a presentation overview. Okay, so I'll just let you just quickly go over. Okay, so the project is about the curbside mural, the step painting, step mural. So we're thinking of having emerging local artists to have them create vibrant, permanent mural on the Bonnier Creek cement stairs, turning these areas into lasting work of art. So we're thinking to have this event and project during the summer. The weather gets better. And why am I proposing this? To solidify Bonnier Creek Park as a vibrant cultural landmark, fostering community identity and connection through permanent artist-led murals on the cement stairs and offering family-oriented activities. So, because there will be the step painting, the murals on each step, so we do have 6 of them. So right after that, following this event, the project, we're thinking of having the chalk drawing activity as a celebratory activity. So following the completion of the step murals, this family-friendly event will invite residents to engage in chalk drawing inspired by these murals. So guided by UIUC art education students, so visitors can use provided templates and or color schemes to create their own temporary artwork around the mural site, making it a festive and hands-on celebration of the completed murals. Okay, so the purpose of having this celebratory activity is to make this project more inclusive. So not just for emerging artists, and for so we want to have engage this family at all ages, so that we can provide more inclusive experience that complements the primary mural project. So these are the expected outcomes. Maybe this is a wishful thinking, but I will just go over some logistics, and we can. I will just go over some logistics to tell you the feasibility of it. So I'm thinking of having this for increasing the foot traffic and stronger partnerships with local businesses due to greater visibility and community interactions, and of creating a welcoming atmosphere where families and individuals of all ages can create shared memories through arts activities. And a more dynamic and culturally enriched Bonnier Creek area, establishing it as a celebrated public arts destination. And we can strengthen community bonds as people from all backgrounds take part, fostering a shared sense of ownership and pride in Urbana public spaces. So who this project serves? So local artists, they would be the major people that they'll be the agents to create this, turning this public space into more the vibrant locations. So it's going to be 6 emerging local artists, and they'll be commissioned for the mural, providing them a platform to display their work, and they can also gain recognition, and they can also interact with the community. So community of all ages and backgrounds, the chalk drawing sessions welcome residents of all ages to create temporary arts around the mural site, fostering inclusive and accessible event. And lastly, UIUC student art educators. So members of the art education student organizations, ESO, will help guide visitors in the chalk drawing activities. So I would like to share some of the successful example that has been done for STEP Mural project in USA. So first example that I want to share is a City Park Amphitheater in Bisbee, Arizona, USA. So in 2018, artist Monique Eaton painted a mural at Bisbee's City Park Amphitheater to commemorate its 100th anniversary. So the mural features miners and soldiers honoring Bisbee's mining heritage and the resilience of its community. And the impact was the mural has enhanced the beauty and cultural significance, and it fosters community pride and unity by celebrating their rich heritage. And it can also provide visitors with meaningful connections to town's history. So next example that I want to share is Migratory Birds mural on Amphitheater Sit. It was in a collaborative effort with the Southern Arizona Arts and Culture Alliance to enhance public space. So artist Alonso, just one single artist, Digaldillo, painted a mural of migratory birds on the amphitheater sitting wall at Saurita Lake Park. So the mural features a series of birds in flight inspired by the color of lake and sky, symbolizing the migratory patterns observed in the region. And the mural fostered a deeper appreciation of local wildlife and the natural environment, and also strengthened the community identity and pride. The next example that I want to show you is Love Mural at South Jamaica Amphitheater, Queens in New York. So it was created in September 2021. This 300 square feet mural by Eric Black, a native of Cambria Heights. So this mural depicted a feature of portraits and inspirational quotes from notable figures associated with Queens, including LL Cool J, Q-Tip, Jackie Robinson, Count Basie, W.B. Du Bois, and Naomi Osaka, celebrating Southeast Queens cultural heritage. By honoring local icons, the mural fostered community pride and serves as educational tools. The last example I want to share is Sky Crawler mural on Los Angeles Stairway. So this mural was done by John Cuvas, completed in 2017, covers a 51-step stairway in LA's Art District with snake designs connecting South Santa Fe Avenue and the 4th Street Bridge. So this staircase has become a very popular spot for fitness and urban exploration, adding unique artistic appeal and drawing visitors to the art district. So this is a very powerful example of how murals on stairways can transfer public space into popular attraction, and its presence has turned a functional stairways into an engaging landmark, making a destination for fitness activities, photo ops, and urban exploration. So how do we transform our steps into a community landmark? So we do have currently 6 steps, if you can see. Okay, it's pretty spacious. Sorry. So again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm thinking of recreating 6 emerging local artists so that we're giving them an opportunity to more like debut and make their work more visible to the community instead of like giving the opportunity for who are already established professionals. I know that it would be more safe to work with professional artists who have a way more experience, but I think it's really important that to provide emerging artists more opportunity where their work is more recognized within the society and the community, and use this experience opportunity as a ladder to build their career. And that's that. So project alignment with City of Urbana Arts and Culture mission and vision. So I just review the chunk of the explanation within the mission and vision, including history, but these 2 quotations actually stand out to me. To foster a city where all residents may engage with the arts and where artists thrive and are valued. And next, I have to celebrate Urbana's artistic and cultural diversity. So the proposed mural project, Love and Care, embodies the value of our community by emphasizing connection, compassion, and support. Okay, yeah, so by creating this vibrant public artwork that engage residents and celebrate urban artistic and cultural diversity. So I think this project really fits well to support this mission. So I'm going to just skip the rest. So this is a timeline. So December, I think with planning can begin, and at the same time we can finalize it toward the end of December. January, then the call for artists can circulate it, and February 2025, so proposal submission and selection process will begin, and by March, finalists can be announced and letters can be sent out to the artists, and by the April, sometime in April, I think it's really important to have the meeting with the artists to discuss their vision and what their actual plans for, if there is any way that we can make this process more cohesive, all arts work cohesive. And in May, then they can begin creating the murals. And either June or July, the celebration, which is a chalk drawing activity, can begin. So that's that, but I do have a lot of other parts, but I think I should end it here, or can I quickly go over?
What would you want to go over parts of the presentation that you just went over, or something new?
This is within.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So this is really important part. So what do I want from you? Right? So artist selections. So I'm going to, let's say I'm developing a draft of the criteria. So this is the artwork that I'm looking for. So I will create a draft and I will share this draft with the committee here. Then I think I would this could be finalized by you, or also you can, once this is approved by the committee members, then this criteria can be sent out for call for artists. And you can also sit for the selections committee, or else you can also recommend me some of the members who can review the artwork. And once we finalize a 20 or 15 to 20, the strongest artwork, then maybe Urban Art Commission Committee can decide the 6 finalists. So this is my vision, how I envision this process, but this could be adjusted. and installation guidance. So it would be very helpful if you can provide me the best practices and safety measure for mural installation and ensuring the smooth execution of the project. And artist fee. So the artist fee is set at $1,000 per artist, totaling $6,000 for 6 artists. The fee was recommended by the business admin team from the School of Art and Design, referencing fair pay standard in Illinois. So it would be helpful if Urban Arts Commission could offer or subsidize the artist fee in the interim. I'm also working to secure some funding for this project internally and externally. But the results will come out in February 2025. But I'm thinking of having this call for artists, like I mentioned, like January, February. So I cannot really for sure that, hey, this is going to be, like you're gonna be, like you'll be awarded with $10,000. So I cannot promise them anything. So it would be very helpful that if Urbana Arts Commissions could help offer subsidize the artist fee. Hourly pay for art educators, an hourly pay of $20 for art educators, student organizations facilitators who would come to facilitate the chalk drawing sessions. So I'm thinking of having the event will be held over 2 days with activity lasting 4 hours each day. So 5 students will facilitate activity each day, totaling 10 students for the event, so total cost for facilitators will be $800. Yeah, so that's it. And this is my current, the project current stage. So I have presented this potential possibility of this event to the School of Art Design program chairs and the director of the Faculty of Fine and Applied Arts confirming their support. And I also have reached out to local group, artist group, and individual artists and confirming their interest in submitting application for call for artists if it opens, and spoke with the art education student organizations confirming their willingness to support the event as activity facilitators and visitor assistants, and also contacted the Public Works Department to explore the possibility and process for ensuring safety and compliance for the event. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to give a little bit of context because this is probably one of the first times in a while that the university has had someone come and give a proposal for a project that they're asking for support and funding for that's outside of the arts grants. I know that there are other programs that the Arts and Culture program has funding for that kind of have fall under sculpture or murals or just programming and co-sponsorships of other organizations and that sort of thing. So I think that we have someone here who's coming from the arts education department from U of I seeking approval or seeking or wanting to propose an idea of using city space. So first and foremost, I would say that the first part of what's happening is that we have someone who is interested in using space, that city space. And so what you might want to be thinking about is the space, what they're proposing on using it for, and how they're going to be using it with local artists. Is this a space that you think should be used for art? And so it's nothing that needs to be decided on today. Obviously, this is just a proposal that we're having presented to us. But I think that what we will want to do is take time for you guys to decide what recommendations you'd like to give to city staff to move forward. So if you like the space and you believe that that space should have art and it should be done in this way, then that's something that we can all discuss. But I would say that I just wanted to give you some context before you start asking questions, or maybe that'll help you with questions that you have. And I think that I also just want to say that the funding, you're hoping to get a grant from the university. The timeline is such that you might not find out until after.
Exactly.
You're-
February 20,
Yeah.
25, that's too late, right?
Yeah. Our arts grants timeline starts where people are applying between February and March, and then they're receiving the funding in June. The mural program is a section of money that is technically about and is used for mural installations. And so there's something I just want you guys to know about that, because we haven't really gone over like what's what. But so there's definitely options, but I think that best case scenario is that the university would have granted this program, but definitely feel free to ask questions. This is a proposal, beginning stages here.
I have a question. Is this the part of the Boneyard Creek right on Race Street? Or Boneyard Creek goes all the way through campus too, and it's right behind Granger Hall, for example.
Yes.
And there's a lot of open space out there.
This
This
is
looks like
Griggs.
here. One of the pictures you showed was here. But
So
this-
it's,
this-
yeah, so Boneyard Creek Park, right? So it is the step within the park.
Yeah, but it's in the Urbana part of it.
Yes.
Right, okay. Just want to make sure, because I know there's a lot of also
Yes.
open space on campus that the Boneyard
Yes,
weaves
it's
itself
all-
through.
Yes.
I mean, maybe there's potential there as well.
Yes. So when I Googled it, I was like Boneyard Creeks because I was looking for a suitable photo. It was so many, like it's all the way. So, okay, so this is, I know what you mean. So it's going to be the Urbana, the Boneyard Creek Park. It's newly developed. I think that's the area. Oh, you cannot see my cursor. Oh, yeah, here. So this area. Yeah.
That's Griggs. Griggs and Race, Broadway.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But I also know that space in the middle of campus, so
Yes. So around
Technically still
architecture
Urbana,
building.
but-
Yes.
just wondering.
Thank you.
I'll just say that it's a great project. I really like this park specifically. Let the record show. I think we've done a pretty good job through, the Shakespeare events, other murals, and I think there was a Boneyard exhibit this past spring to really activate this space, because it does have great infrastructure, but it's not a very active space without people actually coming in and doing stuff. So I think that's great. I will say, talking with Vivian and Kelly and Elsie about muralists in town, is that we don't have a lot of big muralists. And so what I like about this project is that we can potentially provide some infrastructure that's a little bit more accessible. We don't have to be bringing in lifts, for example. We don't have to be getting specific permits, to block the right of way necessarily. I don't know. I don't work for Public Works, so, but these are some of the things. But if we can encourage artists that know how to paint big, for example, and maybe they can help them on their path to become amateur muralists, I think that's a great idea. I think my only concern is just thinking of all of the potential places where murals or where public art can happen in Urbana, and I'm just not too sure what's on the radar in terms of what these other locations are. For example, when will we need to, say, replace the asphalt mural in the Lincoln Square, mall parking lot, for example? These are some of the considerations as we sort of plan funding for public art, and I just don't have that information right now to say whether or not this is something, to move forward on quickly.
So after speaking with the Public Works, so they said we can paint this side, like the facing forward, but we cannot paint on the step. So as long as we can keep the murals front, I think that should be okay.
How do you protect them from Mother Nature?
How do we protect it from Mother Nature?
I noticed already, and I'm afraid to drive on it because I don't want to damage it, so I was going to the next aisle for the mural here. Mother Nature takes a toll on artwork. How do you propose to, I mean, I'm sure artists who do this for a living know and understand how to do that, but for the layperson, I wondered, because the sun and the atmosphere can take its toll on artwork.
Yes, that's a very great
We
question.
want it to stay and the efforts to be, have a shelf life, so to speak.
Exactly. So I think I had a conversation about this with Vivian before, and how we're going to maintain this, the artwork. So we're going to actually ask the artist, because they are local artists, maybe they could go abroad, but we're expecting them to actually monitor their work so that they can maintain the upkeep, the artwork regularly, so that it does, like, let's say it's vandalized, like, who knows, right? And it could be damaged by, like, weather. So that's a possibility. So we're going to include the artists actively, so they can take care of their own work, the space, so that it can be maintained like, for a long time. Yeah, so that's one of the methods, but there will be other, like, the options that we can think about, I think.
One thing that we encountered when painting the mural on the parking lot across the street
Yes.
is the surface was not ideal because of the material that was used to repair cracks
Yes.
in the surface. So the paint in that area is not holding like it would in the rest of the asphalt. So I'm just wondering what kinds of conversations and research you're doing about the actual surface that you're going to be painting ahead of time to make sure
Yes.
that the paint can adhere long-term, which is what you're referring to, because, you know, in such a short time already, and just in those areas in particular, which is, it was sort of like a tarry substance, it's a rubbery kind of tarry substance, the paint just does not adhere in the way that it does in the more porous kinds of parts
Yes.
of the vault. So those kinds of, you know, is Public Works willing to do the work with you and your group to, like, you know, do an assessment of the surface to make sure that it can take the paint and it can hold.
So I can,
Yeah.
sorry.
So that's all that I'm.
So I can definitely bring that up to their attention, like how, if there is any way they can support us in terms of maintenance. So another thing that we have discussed is that like experimentation beforehand. So Public Works is, they are going to support us with the space, the parking lot space with the concrete barriers, so that we can experiment with some of the paints, like maybe spray, like different types of paint and the spray paint, so that we can have some kind of experimentation beforehand, so that this can be more like polished and ready to go. So, but however, I will again share that concern with the Public Works, because it's their concrete barrier that they're going to provide us, and this concrete would be different. So I will ask that if they do have any good suggestions.
I
Okay,
just
thank you.
wanted to add that, yeah, like we talked about some sealant sort of types of materials to use that maybe are going to be more conducive to the sort of like smooth texture of this compared to the asphalt that Alicia definitely got a chance to paint across the street. But also being mindful, you know, when you maybe want to propose again or, you know, make changes after you hear from everyone is the fact that this is a stormwater collection area, and, you know, it gets a lot of water that fills the space, and that the steps that we're seeing, you know, there are times where it's going to be completely covered in stormwater. So, yeah, definitely, I would say including a maintenance plan in the budget, because Public Works will not be able to take care of the maintenance of the mural. It will be definitely up to, I think, the artist installing it in that moment when they're installing it, and the maintenance happening like as they're doing it. And then but sometimes art is over, right? It's not like it always lasts forever. And so with some of these more like kind of experimental urban projects, faded paint, sometimes it means new painting on top of it. But just something to think about.
Be special sealants that you can use. I know just repairing the steps on going into my front of the house, and every year we have to repaint it because the tree always doesn't let the sunlight in, and then the wooden steps rot. So we fixed it again, and we painted it with a sealant, and then we sprayed it with Krylon. Now, that's maybe a simplified version, but it actually has worked so far. And now the water runs off and it doesn't seep into the wood. So maybe there's some special sealant that after it's all done, maybe will help preserve the lifetime of it.
Yes.
So we can enjoy it longer.
Yes. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. So I think my next step is to do some research on the types of the materials and how to keep it longer.
Any more questions then? Because we have more presents.
I was just going to ask one thing. Are there any courses where this could be, instead of having to pay students $20 an hour, pay them in credits? Is that a dangerous thing to say? I don't know.
So that's if
Internships?
it's during, yes. So if it is within the semester, that's possible. But we're thinking of having it during the summertime, right? So it's after the semester is over. So
What about summer session?
yeah, summer sessions. Yeah, we can collaborate. But yeah, that's something that we can consider. But just the timeline, I'm just like suggesting whatever I could like achieve. But if that's that's very visible still. Thank you for the
It's
suggestion.
important to maximize our resources.
I also had a quick question about the timing of the event itself in June. I'm wondering if you've thought about how to synergize this with other events in the summer, if you've talked with the local businesses like 25 O'Clock or Boulder Rotas in the area.
Yes. So I was actually thinking about having this event as within a part of the Boneyard Festival. But that will run in April, right? Sometime in April. So the timeline is a little too tight, but yes. So, but I think it would be nice if there is options to collaborate with other festivals or any events. That would be amazing.
Maybe some student organizations that have projects they have to fulfill,
Yes.
scout troops.
Yes. Yeah, I can definitely bring that up to
Maybe one of the
during the
community
faculty meeting.
Rotary clubs or Lions Club, somebody who has involved in
Uh,
group that, Ambox, is it? The called Ambox? There may be some
Folks.
community groups that
Mhm.
would be willing to partner.
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Well, thank you so
Oh,
much.
okay. Thank you so much.
For all your time and putting all this together. It's wonderful. It's a great idea. Thank you so much. Now we have a presentation from 40 North, right? Welcoming Kelly White and Elsie.
Yeah. Sorry,
I could take
Xander,
one of
you
my
miss out.
husband as an anniversary present.
We'll get you one. Okay. Yeah.
Just say that just means you have to stop by the office, so it's fine.
You on?
All right. Good
Well,
evening.
hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome back.
Hope you're all doing wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thank you for allowing us to come and chat with you. We're going to kind of give you a little yearly update because there's lots of stuff that's been happening, and we want to make sure you haven't missed any of it. So we're going to kind of go through, not quite chronological. It'll make sense, I think, though. So, but yeah, so we're just going to, ready?
So if you aren't familiar, since September of 2023, we have been running monthly events called Postmark. And that's actually what your postcard bundles are from. So each month, according to our theme, we work with a different local artist to produce a limited edition postcard. And so we decided to start with January since we're just updating with this year, but Postmark stands for Post Farmers Market Events, and we branded it as such. On the slide right now, you're seeing January, and our theme for January was recycled, repurposed, reused art. We work with the downtown local businesses for each of these to either host a food special, retail sale, art display, art activity, and we produce a map, almost similar to like a mini boneyard each month. And so for this one in January, our headquarters where we passed out the maps and had activities was at Cafe & Co. And we had 14 local businesses in downtown Urbana participating that month by offering some sort of sales special or activity. And then at Cafe & Co., we did journal making using recycled, repurposed materials all sourced from Idea Store right here in Urbana. It was extremely popular given the fact that that was like a really, really crummy weather day.
Yeah, so cold that my car doors wouldn't open once the event was over. But
gosh,
so,
just when you
but
need
people
the-
came out. It was freezing, but people were there.
So anybody who showed up got to make a recycled journal and listen to some free live music by local musicians, and then pick up their map and go out and explore all of the various art, food, and fun taking place in downtown Urbana.
February.
Yeah, so February, we leaned a little bit more into the culture portion of arts and culture, and we celebrated Lunar New Year and also did a poetry focus, so a little bit of double duty there. Our headquarters for the February Postmark was at Gallery Art Bar, and they provided some lovely projections and a stage for members of CU Poetry to do live poetry readings. We also had some cultural music and demonstrations for Lunar New Year from New American Welcome Center and Jasmine Fields Orchestra. We had 12 downtown businesses participating that month by offering an activity, sale, or food special. And we also did a collaboration with a group of local artists that month who banded together and wanted to host an art market in conjunction with Postmark. They were going to do it anyway, but word had caught on by that point that we were doing these monthly events, and they thought best to host it when we were already trying to gather people downtown. So yeah, lots of great activities going on. We had some cultural groups from campus offering calligraphy lessons inside Main Scoop. We decorated Crane Alley. That's kind of become a theme. So if you're seeing anything hanging up in Crane Alley lately,
It's us on ladders.
it's us. So we did the lanterns for the first time in February to create a beautiful photo op. And then we also equipped all of the businesses with chocolate coins to hand out to anybody who came in as a part of Postmark, because that is a part of a Lunar New Year tradition.
Little egg painting there that looks familiar. Mark Anthony. Okay.
Wait a minute, did we miss something?
Should I go back?
Yeah. One of
The
those
egg
is
painting
yours.
is Mark Anthony's. Hanging in Gallery Art Bar.
Oh,
Mark
okay,
Anthony was the
thank you.
featured artist inside Gallery Art Bar that month.
Yeah.
March.
March was wonderful. That one holds a special place in my heart. For March, we decided our theme was going to be celebrating youth artists. So every facet of the March Postmark involved youth, even including our postcard artist. That photography artwork was done by Mo Ford, who just graduated last year, was an Urbana High School student who's even won national photography competitions for their work. But for the March one in particular, we had 15 participating businesses. And we had the pleasure of collaborating with USD 116 And we had over 300 pieces of youth artwork displayed in our local downtown businesses as a part of that. So if you can see at the bottom there, that stamp artwork, we provided the students with a template, and they got to actually learn about postage stamps and the type of artwork that goes on them, and then they got to create their own. And we worked with the local businesses to string those up, and they housed over 300 pieces. We also worked with the Bodacious String Band out of C4A to provide our musical entertainment. So they did a live performance inside of Main Scoop. And then we also worked with DJ Silky, who runs her She Spins Youth DJ program, to secure 2 youth DJs who were spinning inside Gallery Art Bar during the event. That was really cool. And then we offered free characters. And you just heard Kelsey present about Read Across America. We intentionally held this the same day as Read Across America because, again, celebrating youth in the arts. And so that was a really wonderful collaboration to be able to cross-promote. We listed that on our map as one of the stops that you could come out and enjoy. And they helped pass out maps actually at Read Across America. Just, you know, if you showed up there of your own volition and didn't know that Postmark was going on, you could then even get more free fun for your kiddos that day.
And isn't that kid finding his piece of artwork at Tom Brewer? He was pretty pumped.
Yes, I just so happened to be there when one of the youth artists found their particular stamp at Tom Brewer, and wow, that was a moment.
So April, of course, is Boneyard, which we've already presented on, so we'll go to May.
So May, our theme was celebrating dance. And we were back outside. That was our first outside event after Boneyard. We had 10 local businesses participating that month. And then we enlisted the help of 5 different dance groups to provide performances of different dance genres. So we had CU Swing Society, Ballet Folclórico de los Tigres from Urbana USD 116, the Hip Drop Hooligans, which is a local belly dance group, Royal Diamonds Step and Dance Team from UHS, and then local Zumba instructors from Urbana Park District. All provided dance demonstrations during our outdoor event that day. We also had some live painting featured at Gallery Art Bar, and it also happened to be the same day as CU Tango Music Festival. And so we were very grateful to collaborate with them as well. It felt like, you know, really seamless into the theme of celebrating dance as well. So they did a really beautiful tango music demonstration out in the lot as well.
Bottom is the guy who does the science program on WCIA. The guy who's dancing with the suspenders and the bow tie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's also the head of the CU Swing Society.
It's all about the swing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just
If he hears
recognize
swing
you from-
music, he is there.
Interesting.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Oh.
Okay.
Hopefully we have more than that, Viv.
She's doing her job.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, just after the postmark section? Sure, or now. Oh, we can, yeah, when it feels natural.
Okay.
June.
All right,
Oh,
so
don't you love how I'm announcing them?
June. June, our theme, we went with color. It was also a collaboration in terms of CU Pride Month. And so our biggest collab for that month was with Uniting Pride of Champaign County. But we did try and lean into that. So we had DJ Silky as our musical entertainment. And in terms of the color theme, we worked with 4 local artists to do live chalk mural drawing. Vivian was one of them. And they were beautiful, so those were out in the Busey lot. But every element that was offered was just dripping in all sorts of color. And the businesses really tried to lean into that as well. Like, for example, Bohemia that month ran a sale where like everything of a certain color was on sale. So the businesses are really trying to lean into the themes.
July.
July was another one of my favorites. Our theme that month was celebrating theater arts, and we had 13 businesses participate that month, 7 of which participated in our costume walk. So that was done in collaboration with Krannert Center for the Performing Arts. They combed through their personal collection of over 70,000 costume pieces and curated specific ones to bring out to certain businesses that wanted to host one for part of our costume walk. So you can see a few of the ones that were featured up there on the screen. We also collaborated with Urbana Park District and CU Special Recreation Theater Program to provide live theater performances in the lot as well. So the little girl in the bottom corner and then the lady singing in the top corner. Those are both of our theater performances that were featured as part of that month.
An aside that was sort of hilarious is when we were promoting this, we said that these costumes were selected from the collection of over 70,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the news said that we were featuring 70,000 costumes in downtown Urbana.
Whoa.
It caused a little bit of excitement for some, and I'm like, how are we supposed to show 70,000? But yeah, exactly.
All in the
So
downtown
luckily, no one
businesses.
quite embraced it, but we tried to get it corrected as soon as possible. But it was pretty funny. August.
All right, August. So our theme for that one, we chose to do a back to school theme. And we had 13 businesses participate. We got some feedback from the July event when we curated for them. You know, we provided them a costume in July, and the businesses greatly appreciated that. We took some of the pressure off of them. And so we listened to that feedback and thought about how we could kind of replicate and do the same for August. So we created a back to school scavenger hunt. So like the notebook and the eraser that you're seeing in the middle of the screen, those are giant school supplies that Kelly made out of foam that we hid inside our participating Postmark businesses. And then folks got their scavenger hunt list and went out downtown to explore the businesses. And you know, we didn't know how it was going to go, but it was really well embraced. Like lots of people turned those back in and then were entered into a raffle for a gift card from one of our participating Postmark businesses. So we had 13 businesses participate. We also collaborated in August with the Music Shop to kind of focus again on more of the arts education aspect and back to school. So they were doing a music petting zoo where kids could try out musical instruments in preparation for the school year. Urbana Arts and Culture was there doing a tie-dye bag activity.
Very popular.
Yes. Urbana Park District was present with their Urbana Mobile Recreation Unit. And then we were also, and I'm very grateful for this, able to arrange a collaboration with Busey Bank, and they put together 100 school supply kits that we were able to hand out to local students free of charge.
You all know you love that pink pearl eraser. It's hanging in our office. I love it so much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't let go of it. September.
Yep. September, again, focusing on both arts and culture. So we celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month, and we had 9 businesses participate for September. We did a collaboration with We Love Urbana as part of their Hispanic Heritage Month Festival, as well as Urbana Park District, and USD 116 Dual Language Program. We had Ballet Folclórico de los Tigres back out again to do another dance performance. And I will say, you know, in terms of the businesses, this may have been our lowest month of participation, but the businesses really who did participate, they worked with the theme exceptionally well. So the galleries brought out pieces of work specifically by Latino artists or offered specific, you know, Latino or folk art craft ideas. We had all Latino performers, and it was great. It was really great. So we're skipping October because that was Fall Fusion, and we'll present on that here in a moment. But skipping forward to November, so this just took place about a week ago on November 2nd. Our theme for November was printmaking, and this was our first indoor one of the fall. We had 10 participating businesses, and we collaborated with Skewamorph Press They're part of CU Fab Lab on campus. They brought out one of their mobile printing presses, as well as a lot of like block letterpress print artwork, and taught people all about the process, and folks got to use the antique press to make their own bookmarks. And then we went back to the entire scavenger hunt type idea, and we made what we were calling a printmaking passport. So that's what you're seeing in the top corner. Folks would get a blank card, and then any of the businesses that wanted to be a stop for our passport were equipped with one of those really beautiful leaf stamps. Folks would stop into the business and get their passport stamped, which is a form of printmaking. And then when they brought it back to us just to show us at the library, they were entered into a raffle for a gift card to one of our downtown Postmark businesses. I think the fact that this was like almost a 70-degree day in November helped, but I couldn't have been more pleased with how many people not only showed up, but really bought into the whole printmaking passport and wanted to participate and just dove right in.
So we skipped October for a reason, because obviously in October, not unlike Boneyard, those are kind of our two festival bookends between going indoors and outdoors for Postmark. We had their second annual Urbana Fall Fusion Festival. We learned a lot from the first one. The first one was very successful, but we also learned a lot from it, so we made a few changes, shifting it by an hour. We did 4 to 8 last year, and we realized that it got a little too dark and a little too cold, although this year did not get cold. But so we shifted it to 3 to 7, which ended up being a great change. And then we also kind of changed the overall order of performances. We saw last year when it kind of peaked crowd-wise and then kind of slowed down, and so we kind of changed the order, having a bigger band start off and then peaking at the end with our fire performers, because that did seem to be when you had the biggest crowd, and it kind of was a great way to end the night with the fire performers. So you can see here a few of the different performers that were on the very generously donated stage from Urbana Park District, which was in the Busey Bank parking lot. And yeah, they were wonderful, and it provided just a really nice backdrop to the day. It was a little warm, but wasn't quite fall-like yet, but we still brought out a lot of pumpkins and set the fall vibe for sure. Anything else for this one?
I mean, I've got like stats.
Okay, you can do stats.
Okay. I'm all about the stats. So for Fall Fusion this year, we had 17 different Urbana businesses participating. And then we also had 7 community organizations participating. And for those community collaborations, we tried to either stay Urbana-centric or staying like-minded with us. We are county-wide organization, so we had a few county-wide organizations working with us as well. So we had Urbana Park District, Champaign County Forest Preserve District, Champaign-Urbana Special Recreation, the Urbana Free Library, Champaign County History Museum, CU Folk and Roots Fest, and Urbana Rotary as our community organizations. And we'll get to it here in another slide, but we also had live painting, pumpkin carving, fire performances, fall candle assemblage, which was a new addition this year, and 5 unique photo op stations.
So that gives you just a little idea. We obviously, we brought out the caricaturists, we had balloon animals, face painters, and then we brought back the same professional pumpkin carver as last year just because he was really great to work with. He got second place?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, second place in the Halloween Wars on the Food Network, but it was still pretty good to be second place.
Pretty legit.
So he was great, so we brought back him again, and he kind of pre-carves a few to be on display, and then he live carves throughout the whole event, which is really nice. And then he leaves those pumpkins with us when he goes, which is nice. And then this year he actually made us, I guess, should we call it like a pumpkin, a fake pumpkin? It's like a plastic one with the alma mater. He did the alma mater on it, so that way it doesn't die. We can keep it. So I thought that was nice. We didn't ask him for that, but I thought that was nice. And then Elsie mentioned a lot of the the organizations that we work with. And what was great about working with all of them is they provided such fun, very popular activities for the day. We also collaborated. It was the same weekend as Folk and Roots, or one of the days of Folk and Roots. And so we worked very closely with them in order to kind of shrink our footprint a little bit to make sure they had access, the bands had access to things. And they also provided a instrument petting zoo right outside of their kind of headquarters for Folk and Roots. And that tent was packed the entire event, which was really nice. And then the Rotary there, they were doing a peace pole painting exercise, and they were thrilled, because what did you hear about that?
So Kanita Faye is also part of Urbana Rotary, and she told us afterwards she submitted, I guess, some of the photos of this activity from the event to Rotary International for some sort of contest, and they were selected. They won.
Yeah.
They loved it.
And then there, the library was doing a very popular, they were celebrating their 150th, and so they had like these little wood cutouts of open books that kind of pieced together, and that place was packed the whole time. And then Champaign Special Rec, CU Special Rec brought out their karaoke bus as well, so people were enjoying that. And then other organizations that Elsie mentioned all had some sort of fun activity that people could participate in.
Yeah,
So-
that was my stipulation. If you wanted to be at our festival, you actually had to be providing an activity. It was not like an info fair to just pass out your pamphlets and materials. So it had to do something to help actually enrich our festival in some way.
And then, of course, right towards the end of the night, we make the announcement that you could take the pumpkins, and of course, within 3 minutes, all the pumpkins are just gone, and then people are like, "Did we get a pumpkin?" They're gone. It just happens very swiftly. Okay, we just wanted to cover a few other things that are deeply impactful to Urbana. Poetry Out Loud we hold in February.
So 40 North is actually the regional organizers for Poetry Out Loud. It's a national poetry recitation contest. So kids compete on the school level, and then we organize the Eastern Regional, which constitutes about 17 to 18 counties. And then the winners of that go on to state, and the winners of that go on to nationals. So we hosted Poetry Out Loud regionals at the Independent Media Center in February of 2024. And you can see our two representatives there in the top corner, who were our two representatives that went to state. The young lady on the right, Kate, she actually ended up getting first runner-up at state this past year. Also at Poetry Out Loud, we try our best to collaborate with Urbana Arts and Culture Program through involving the poet laureates. And so we actually had a former poet laureate, and then we had Janelle, who was like at the very end of her term. They served as judges.
Then also, we had the Eric Show in March. It is even bigger than countywide, but Urbana High School is always very well represented there. It happens at the gallery inside the Illini Union. It's like 15 years old now. It's deeply special to me just because I'm the first one who started doing it, so it's been like something that I've loved watching grow and become such a kind of staple in the curriculum of a lot of the schools. And so we had that back in March, and huge turnout, amazing art every year. You know, it's kind of like a different theme and different things that kind of come out, and each school has a different personality, but you can just really feel what some of these kids are dealing with and processing. And the skill level is off the chart, but then also just conceptually, some of the stuff they're bringing up and dealing with and figuring out a way to express it is incredibly impressive. So it was a really great year again, huge, wonderful crowd that showed up to the reception. And then once again, we have a little guest book. And what's great about the Illini Union, it's not the best for parking, but it's great for the whole time it's up for the month. They have so many conventions and visitors and the hotel that a lot of different people get to see it. And they're always, every time there's multiple messages in there that they cannot believe that these are high school students that is making this art. And it's a very popular one at the Illini Union too, because it's just so much great art to be able to look at. So another great year for Eric Show. And then another program that we doubled this year, because we started off, you guys started off the first year doing one Candlelight Serenade, and this year we did two in collaboration with obviously Urbana Arts and Culture Program, as well as the Urbana Park District did a jazz edition, and Barbara very familiar with the classical edition. And this, I mean, I don't know who's come to this or if you've been there, it is pretty magical stuff is all I'm gonna say. I mean, we do spend, how many hours? It was a lot of hours with all those lights and all those candles, and hanging the netting across the bridge was a little challenging, but we did it. But once it starts to get dark and it's transformed, and then the beautiful music starts, and it's nothing else like it. It's a really, really wonderful experience. And
Couple
so,
disclosure, we didn't play any classical music.
but it sounded
We
amazing.
played jazz and musical theater and love songs to
Yeah.
fit the theme.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think the jazz one was in May, and then classical was August, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So really great, and just taking advantage of special things in Urbana. Obviously, the lake house is special, right? Just to be able to be out there, and people can boat, so you can actually rent a boat and be out in the water, listen to the music, twinkling lights. Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. So
Frogs
very
weren't very
enjoyable.
noisy this year either.
No. We also had, I don't know what year it is, fifth? Sixth? The sixth annual Crystal Lake Park Art Fair, with no rain, I might add, because the year before was torrential rain the entire time. Also, the big deal was we went 2 days. So we did, for the first time ever, Saturday and Sunday. Same location as previous year. It is now the permanent location. This was the original location, designed from the very beginning. Crystal Lake Park Art Fair just was under construction. But now this is where it will always be, along the park road. Beautiful, shaded with all the trees along there, right next to the large pavilion, next to the lake house. Worked out very, very well. And what was great is seeing it for the 2 days for the first time was interesting. Obviously, Saturday was a little bit busier than Sunday, but what we were totally surprised about is how many people came back on Sunday. Some people came back just because they thought about something. Some people came back because they brought other people that they wanted it to see. It was very interesting to see how many return people came back on the second day to either purchase or show something to a new person that then also purchased. So a little hot, but overall, since it's all shaded there, very, very successful. And then we also had Urbana there doing a lot of kids' activities. 3 food trucks, 2.5 food trucks? Ice cream wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of nice food, lots of picnic tables out for people to kind of sit. Well, that's what I always love to see, is they kind of walk along and they buy art, but then they stay. It's just the environment is very nice. So they eat some food, stay, maybe go look at some more art. So yeah, really wonderful event this year. And then also, we just wanted to give you a little bit of update on this. 40 North has been on the committee of the Champaign County African American Heritage Trail since it started in 2020, and we also oversee the Arts and Murals subcommittee of the main committee. And Experience Champaign-Urbana was able to secure a pretty large state grant this year that the majority of was dedicated towards some murals for the trail. And so we were in charge of doing the call and received 93 applications and selected the finalists. And one of the 4 locations is at the Urbana Neighborhood Connection Center, which actually Elsie was the one to suggest it as a location. You could probably want to talk why.
So, I mean, it was like my first week on the job in 2023, and we were at one of these arts murals committee meetings, and they were to the point of discussing themes for the murals and really trying to narrow that down because they wanted them more conceptual themes as opposed to like, we want a mural of Frederick Douglass or Martin Luther King. And so one of the concepts or themes that they came up with was educational excellence. And, you know, people were tossing around the idea of various schools, but how do you choose one school over another? And I had done pretty extensive work with the center when I was with the Park District, and their focus is on educational excellence in terms of all of their after-school programming, their summer camp programming, their tours to Black colleges. Everything that they do is, the foundation is in educational excellence. And not to mention, they had some pretty great blank walls that were
Yes,
just
they
screaming
did.
for a mural. So
Yeah.
I tossed out the idea, and the building is actually owned by the Housing Authority. So there's
a
a
little
little bit
complicated, but
yeah.
we got there.
Yep. Finally got to yes, and the mural is up, not only on one wall of the building, but 2.
And when we were, when the jury was selecting the final mural artists that were going to be selected for the 4 locations, Rob Problack Gibbs, who's out of Boston, he has done many large-scale murals about kind of reading and education, and so it was just a perfect fit that he would be the one selected to do this specific mural on these two walls. And by the time, I mean, he was here a week, and he was already family. I mean, he would show up, the way they would greet him, the way he already felt at home, and he was completely accepted. He even came in and talked to the kids and showed him a lot of his artwork. And he has some of his artwork is kind of augmented so that you can use different apps in order to have sign language. Like sometimes he'll have hands that then when you work it through the app, that the hands move to show sign language. And he showed all the kids that, and it was just an amazing person. And he wants to come back. He felt so welcomed, and he loved the whole entire experience, and he wants to come back to Urbana for sure. So it was amazing. And if you get a chance, there are beautiful, beautiful murals on 2 different walls at the Urbana Connection Center, Neighborhood Connection Center. And then just a couple more. We coordinate the art at Busey, so the Busey, main Busey right down here. They rotate once a year on the 2nd and 3rd floor. So we coordinate the call for entries for that and kind of consolidate all the entries and then help with the jury, and they select, and they have a wonderful reception. And that just happened.
Like October 15th.
Yeah, and was very well attended. I think about 3 pieces sold the first night. So we hope to sell. That's the whole purpose of this. Obviously, Busey likes to have it up, but we've always made sure that we want to make sure that that's the end goal is not just to give them decoration temporarily. We want them to sell. And so Busey's also been very good at the end of the shows to also purchase some of the pieces when the show gets towards the end. And they also made some really cool lanyards for the artists this year, which was pretty neat. So yeah, very well attended, and I think about 31 pieces, I think, were selected overall. So it's up now. It'll be up all the way till next year, June-ish, I think, or July, on the 2nd, 3rd floor when the bank is open. And then last but not least, this is what we're in the throes of right at this very, very moment, is our 2024 ACE Awards, which the celebration will be happening at City Center on December 3rd. But right now, Elsie and I have been getting together to video and interview all the winners, because obviously there's going to be featured videos of each of the winners at the celebration. And we wanted to highlight just a couple for Urbana purposes. Our lifetime winner, hopefully you've heard of him, Bob Chapman. Just an amazing local artist that when we told him he won, he said, well, I've only really just got started. Should I really be winning a lifetime award? Which is very Bob. And then our Business ACE Award is Gallery Art Bar, which you see Jonah there, which, you know, had several nominations, which, I mean, the amount of impact and collaboration and connection that has been made in just a little over a year is pretty outstanding. And then you want to talk about Kenita?
And Kenita Faye was chosen as the 2024 ACE Advocate of the Year for her work in various advocacy outlets. But, you know, ACE stands for Arts, Culture, and Education, and she has done a plethora of advocacy work across arts, culture, and education.
Yeah, so very exciting. Obviously, there's 3 other winners as well. We just wanted to highlight these 3 because they were...
That half of our winners this year came from Urbana.
Yeah. But would love to have everyone and anyone to come to the ACE Awards celebration. It is a very inspiring evening just to kind of see how special this community is and celebrate all these amazing people that go above and beyond to make our arts community what it is. So yeah, we're excited about that night coming up. So Vivian mentioned that just to update people on kind of an overall agreement between us and Urbana Arts and Culture, correct?
Yeah, and we have at least one new commissioner, and I think it's also just been over a year since you guys have started. So I think this is great that we have almost an entire full.
Yeah, it's great.
This is everyone.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll keep that in mind next time for postcards.
Sorry, Sander. So I've been with 40 North about 15 years, and the whole time I've been with 40 North, we've always collaborated and worked very, very closely with the commission and the coordinator. There's been a few, but we've worked very closely on everything, and we used to also apply for grants every single year for Boneyard to help with Boneyard. And so, but like when the Urbana Art Expo was happening. We collaborated with, just a lot of collaboration over the years for a very long time. But as I think Elsie mentioned earlier, we are the Champaign County Arts Council. And so a lot of people get confused and think that we only do Champaign, which we do not. We are county-wide. And so the collaboration was always very successful and wonderful, but it always had potential to grow. And so a year ago, I had a lot of discussions with different staff members about potentially funding 40 North at a different level. Then therefore, we could not only grow and continue to push a lot of the programming that we had already that impacted Urbana, but we could also then create new programs, not unlike Postmark and Fall Fusion Fest and different aspects like that, as well as help with calls and other programs that I've already established with Urbana Arts and Culture. And so we received enough funding to hire this very special person, which helped us double our staff, which for someone like me who was a solo staff for a very long time, it's been probably the best thing to ever happen, especially as amazing as Elsie has been hitting the ground running and as brilliant as she's been able to already do in a little over a year. And so in addition to that funding, then also funding to help pay for some of the events. But it's been, for me personally, after 15 years, it finally feels right as being the Champaign County Arts Council that we feel now that we're a real integral part of Urbana, not just kind of collaborating on things here and there. It really feels like we're a part of both cities and obviously the outlying cities as well, but it just, it's felt right. And it really moved us to a new position that I think will only help us grow even further. And so that's kind of the basis of how it's all been working. And then obviously when Vivian was hired, we've started working very closely with Vivian, discussing new ideas, analyzing stuff, why we're doing this, what needs to be done. We've obviously had a lot of experience now, especially Elsie, working with downtown businesses, really getting their perspective on things of what we need. I think Urbana is entering some really interesting growth here between hotel opening, other different aspects opening, obviously a dedication to murals, and I don't know, there's a lot of potential, and I just feel like together it's gonna be pretty incredible. And I think together we're able to do much more than we were kind of just collaborating on small things here and there. So it's been amazing for me personally after the previous 15 years. So I think it's only upward and onward at this point. Do you have any thoughts, Els?
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Well, that's a wrap on our year, and more to come.
Yeah. Well, you're free to ask any questions now. I do, since we're past 6 and we still have a couple things on our agenda, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email Kelly and Elsie, or if you want to, email me and I can relay. I can get some answers back by next meeting, but yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Time for a staff report, or do you want to? Space is used for another meeting shortly, so we have to be efficient with our time tonight.
I do have a full staff report that's not too lengthy, but it's got items on it that I think deserve a little bit more time. So I would suggest that I could present those items at the next meeting and then focus on the discussion. So if someone wanted to make a motion on moving the staff report items to the next meeting.
I think a motion to move
I second.
them would be great.
Okay, thank you.
We need to officially vote on that.
If you made a motion, and did you just second that, Barbara? That's what I have. Okay, and then what I wanted to do is pull this back up.
Okay.
I can. Ooh, it's got to be a better way of doing that. All right, so for this discussion, I sent in that reminder email that we would kind of be talking about things. I know, Alicia, you were gone during that meeting, but I don't know if you got a chance to. Okay. What I wanted to ask of you all is to share your thoughts, maybe one by one, on either anything that really jumps out at you, things that you think should have more detail, or ideas that maybe could support the little moves that will be a part of the big move. And just as like an overview, big move number 5 from the comprehensive plan is to expand the Urbana Arts and Culture program, so that it will bring more art to the city and have a positive impact on economic development, as well as just showing that we're investing in the arts. And so just going over the little moves: increase funding for the arts grants and for public art installation and maintenance. Host one large signature event annually to attract residents and visitors to the community. Streamline event permitting, street and parking lot closures, and fire and alcohol permitting processes to allow local groups to host festivals and events in the city. Evaluate the merits of establishing a downtown tourism and entertainment district, and if feasible, develop an action plan for implementation. Encourage and promote small events year-round throughout the city, hosted by community groups. So, yeah, there are a lot of different things here that were written by city staff, not myself, but the staff that worked on the comprehensive plan. This is sort of based off of all the information that they collected, as they kind of talked about in our last meeting we had. So residents, other city staff and departments sort of gave information, and this is sort of what came out. I gave some feedback based on just our mission and some of our programming. So just as kind of like one more opportunity to give them feedback again, I'm just hoping to gather that from you all. So if anyone wants to start first, or we could go in like a row. If Lori, do you want to start first?
Well, I really like the idea of increasing the funding for the arts grants, and I'm not sure, like the process that needs to take place, but I would like to see, lots of more of our arts grants being funded every year.
And I'm in agreement with Lori. I think that's really important. We seem like we have so much interest and not enough funds for all the people who apply. And they all are deserving. I also think having either 1 or 2 signature events, perhaps at 2 different times of year, that makes sense. And what we were hearing today about some of the really nice collaborations that have happened between different kinds of, programs that work really well together. If we can think in those kinds of ways of like, if we were to have maybe not just 1, but maybe 2 events, signature events during the year that also kind of like dovetail with some of the events that have been happening for years, whether it be America Reads program or anything else.
Just piggybacking on what Lori and Alicia said, I particularly would like to discuss more about accessing our budget for the Urbana Arts and Culture program and looking at that as like a macro view of the budget, in addition to the grants for the public arts grants, but also just in general, kind of do a deep dive on our budget. I also would be really interested to know what of the budget is not being utilized within the fiscal year, and making sure that we're able to manage. I think I'm absolutely for increasing funding, but also looking at how much money we're losing by not utilizing it. Or, coming up with policies as like a commission to how we utilize grant funds that say we awarded but didn't, but the project didn't get fulfilled. So how we can how we can work with the city to be more nimble when adjusting funding from one project to the other, fitting it within a fiscal year. Because, for instance, one example would be if there's arts grant that they sign a contract to fulfill the grant, but then they pull out, that money doesn't actually go back to our arts program, it just goes back to the city fund. So figuring out, I mean, I would love to set aside like a deep dive on our budget and then also really look at how we can utilize the funding better without losing it. Because every fiscal year they'll, so figuring out the fiscal year and how it coincides with us utilizing our funding fully. Like, I think that would be a goal, would be utilizing like 100% of the funds. And then the other piece I think that would be interesting is the streamlining events and permitting. I think that could be a real help, having the Urbana Arts and Culture Program help facilitate in getting insight from businesses that have been having difficulty with getting event permitting and coming up with the policies on that. And maybe those would be, in my opinion, two of the little moves that I feel like that we should prioritize sooner rather than later.
Are those standardized? For example, when someone signs a permit to do one of these events, like as she was discussing, are the permits standardized throughout for these kind of events? Is there a way to simplify it?
So there is a permit like process for special events, and it's like an application that's submitted, and it has a lot of check boxes and detail that goes into it. And so like with some of those check boxes, do you plan on having alcohol at the event? Does this require street closures?
Sure.
What's your trash plan for collecting trash? And so sometimes there's just a lot of like variables that can make situations different. And the application doesn't have a fee as of right now, but the services for some of the street closures for special events, it does require a fee, and it can be pretty lofty for smaller organizations.
Sure. Well, speaking of funding, then, do we have any other alternative sources of income? Or some that we haven't thought of, or events we could create that would be a fundraiser?
Fundraising hasn't really been a priority for arts and culture due to the nature of it being, I guess, the focus is ED, and the focus has kind of been to support other people kind of getting money in. But it's something that I could definitely look into.
Well, we had looked long ago about legal ways of doing it and whether we could take donations, but it never really went anywhere as far as I can remember. I may be saying something more about my memory after all these years, but just, are there any other options that we haven't considered yet?
We can accept donations through the Eastern Central Illinois Community Foundation, and it's on our website. And if people visit the Arts and Culture website, there is a Support Now link that one could click. But in terms of getting money, staff, myself, are always looking for grants. Kelly and Elsie working with me on looking at grants is something that they're doing too. So right now it's sort of like budget from the city or grants that we're getting from the Arts Council or elsewhere.
It's always looking for the almighty dollar.
Yep.
We're building up visitors from the next meeting already. There's
Okay.
There's at least 3.
Okay,
You
yeah,
can't
I
see
think,
them, they're behind you.
if we want to just kind of keep going and we can see. Okay.
Table it?
We can table this discussion, right? Yes. Yeah. Oh, in the same meeting?
Oh.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
use the wrong term.
Yep, wrong term.
Defer this topic for the next meeting? Is that okay? You get
Does that
out
fit in the
sooner?
timeline with the comp plan approval process? Okay.
I'll make a motion to defer.
Second the motion. Second the motion.
Do we need to vote? Officially? All in favor, say aye.
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 Sorry, you worked so hard to get everything ready.
I did, yes, we really tried our best. Okay, so we'll close this. You all have copies of that, so you can also email some of those things to me as well if you have questions for Andrea.
What they say in show business, always leave them wanting more.
Yep. Right.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.